Our backs against the wall. It seems impossible, but there's nobody else I want by my side to stand here with me to take this fight through the rise and fall. With our fearless hearts, we could beat the odds, and we could live for 1,000 years. We could be legends if we all go down. If our time is now, we could let everyone know we were here. We could be legends.
We can live forever.
We dream so colorful. Oh, we love so strong. The world is relentless, the city won't sleep. It hardens your soul, brings you to your knees. But we can face it all. With our fearless hearts, we could beat the odds, and we could live for 1,000 years. We could be legends if we all go down. If our time is now, we could let everyone know we were here. We could be legends.
We can live forever.
What's up guys, JNO here and welcome to the first in the Fantasy Football Fantasy Premier League series.
Our backs against the wall. It seems impossible, but there's nobody else I want by my side to stand here with me to take this fight through the rise and fall. With our fearless hearts, we could beat the odds, and we could live for 1,000 years. We could be legends if we all go down. If our time is now, we could let everyone know we were here. We could be legends.
We can live forever.
What is up guys, and welcome to FPL Today live. Just a thank you stream, just a bit more chilled than the usual streams. Am I bringing my microphone into the right place. I think the audio should be good. I'd actually tested before I jumped on today as to not have the same issues as we've had before, where I just chat away and you guys can't hear me. But of course, I'm going to start every stream off from now on where I just ask you guys, let me know in the chat if the sound is good, if the stream quality is good. So if it isn't, I can actually try and do something about it. I have my iPad just below my screen so I can see the chat when I'm looking at other screens. Hopefully, we avoid the hatred that we've been getting on the last 2 streams. So be it. I'm, well, hungover. Does that count? Yeah, sorry for yesterday's stream. I promised it, so I didn't want to let you guys down. But yeah, I wasn't expecting my friend from work to invite me for drinks and for it to go the way it did. Yeah, he bought me quite a few drinks. So I definitely appreciate it. You can't knock drinking with a friend and talking. By the way, if you get any feedback there, that's my iPad finally coming in so I can see the chat on my iPad. Okay, we seem to have a very friendly stream today. It might be a bit more, because I've never streamed at this time before, that I'm aware of. So we might not get as many people as usually, so a bit more one-on-one time. But the main reason for this chat, for the 13 people here, is to say thank you. And that is weird, just seeing 2 versions of me on the screen. So let's go and put that up there. That's a little bit better. The main reason for this stream is to just say thank you for 2,700 subscribers. We broke it this morning. We're now on 2,701, I believe. That might have changed. And the drink of the day is Hair of the Dog, ladies and gentlemen. Just because I'm streaming, otherwise I'd probably just be drinking the water wherever I put it. You know what, I filled up a water bottle and I've not even brought it into the room with me. So, well played, J&O. Prepared as always. Anyway, let's just have a quick look through the chat. Ah, Seb, first person in the chat. Well done, my friend, getting in on chat early. Darren Towell is in the chat. What's up, man? How you doing? We gave away the song name. It's Raziel, I believe is how you say his name, and it's Legends. Great song. Used it. I've used it for quite a few years now, so it's kind of becoming one of the theme tunes for the channel. We got Sajan with the first question by the look of it. Kane, Lukaku and Firmino up front, or Jesus, Lukaku and Lacazette up front? It all depends if you think Kane's going to have a good start to the season. If you think he is, then I'd go with the Kane option. I personally would go with the Jesus, Lukaku and Lacazette option. We've got Sanjan Chowdhury in the chat. How you doing, my friend? Nick Scooty is in the chat. Jordan R, love you too, man. Joe Cooper is here. Can I send my team in? If you want to type your team, I'll have a look at it in the chat. This isn't Rate My Team Live. This is a bit more chill, a little bit more casual. I've put no pressure on myself today to do anything specific. But yeah, you can put your team in the chat. I'll give you my opinion. I'm sure other people will give you their opinion as well. Yeah, 5 dislikes. Someone really don't like me, do they? It might be more. My iPad might be a bit behind. Thank you very much, Jordan R, best FPL YouTuber. I appreciate it. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the best, but I am one of the hardest working, I reckon. Seb saying it's alright, enjoyed last night's stream. Do you enjoy watching drunk people? Thank you. Chaos is in the chat. Hello, Chaos. Is Chaos one of my mods? Because the chat I'm looking at is from a different account. No, we don't have any mods. Anyone want to be a mod? In the chat, put why you want to be a mod and the best reason that you have for me making you a mod. Because just in case, we should have a mod in the chat. Sober. I'm sober at the moment, but who knows how long that will last for. I do actually, this week, apart from when I went to the pub with my friend, I haven't drunk all week apart from when I'm with you guys. Just trying to make you guys think I'm not an alcoholic. Kieran Rogers, we will be doing head-to-head again, I'm pretty sure. I may just do head-to-head for people that come and join the streams, just because last year, the amount of work I had to do just to sort out the head-to-head leagues, it took me a good 4 or 5 hours, about 4 or 5 days in a row to sort it all out. And I'd rather be making content and spending time with you guys on YouTube than going to that kind of work. I mean, if I could pay someone to do it for me, that would be immense, but the YouTube channel doesn't get in that kind of money yet. But there will definitely be some sort of head-to-head league at some point. Best 9 million midfielder. PJ, remind me of that question in a second, because we will be able to look at the FPL site today. Nick Scooty's team in the chat. I don't have Twitter, but my team is Foster, Louise, Bertrand, Trippier, Phillips, Pogba, Zaha, Ericsson, Lukaku, Kane, Austin. I like that team. It feels balanced. It feels like you've got some good options everywhere. Maybe missing a really good midfielder. Can you ask why I have Ayew up front? Because I'm hoping Llorente stays injured, so I think Ayew will be playing, and he's only 5 million. Alright, we've got some requests to be mods. I want to be a mod because I can cause chaos on the haters. See what I did there. I'll stop now. Do I need a mod that can cause chaos? We've got PJ Maloney, apologise for butchering your name. I've watched you for ages and I am responsible. Me because ball is life, FPL is life, J&O is life. Ball is life? Not quite sure I get that. Thomas Carthy, yes, pick me. Jordan R, I want to be a mod because I'm actually in love with this channel and I listen to all your tips. You're an inspiration. I mean, you're just stroking the ego there, aren't you? Hey, Jano, hanging too, lad. Haha. Good, we've got someone else in the chat hanging. I'm glad to see that. Would you go Phillips or Stanislas? I would go Stanislas. Oh, alright. There we go. We have a hater already. Lovely. So, chaos. Go cause some chaos. You know who to go and ban. Who else we got in here? Because you're quick off the draw. There you go, PJ. Thomas, because you've been such a long time supporter of the channel. Alright, we've got our moderators for the day. Apologies if you're just getting your moderator answer back in, but I've put 4 people as moderator, so get to work if you see any haters in the chat. It's nice to see people have so much spare time that they can just come and bug my stream. We have Black Statue Hook. Similar to me, they've got Foster, Bertrand, Dawson, Cedric, Zaha, Ericsson, De Bruyne, Phillips, Kane, Lukaku, Gabbiadini. That feels pretty balanced to me. I like the sound of that team. Got some more teams coming in. We've got Nidhad Majoub, Foster and Elliott, Lindolf, Cedric, Trippier, Yedlin, Long, Pogba, Sane, Mane, Phillips, Lukaku, Kane, Gale. That sounds good. Everyone knows what I think of Gale, although he could be the one that proves me wrong this season. Darren Towell's got Foster, Cedric, Dawson, Bertrand, Phillips, Ericsson, Pogba, Zaha, Lukaku, Kane, Firmino. I've left my stream in the box on the side again, haven't I? Only one hater so far. So yeah, Blue Bees, only one. All the teams are looking pretty good and balanced. It's a lot better than the teams I originally saw. Anyone wants to share their mini leagues, you go ahead. You can join each other's mini leagues. Mine, if you only get to join 15 mini leagues though, so I wouldn't like join too many. But it's completely up to you. Join which ones you want. So yeah, Everyone can put their links in the chat if they want people to join their own mini leagues. Who copied FPL tips? Was it me? I don't think I've copied FPL tips. Not a bad person to copy though. I look fresh today. Thank you. I don't feel that fresh, but I will go into some detail about why this channel gets some hate. Alright, so just a quick discussion about why I get so much hate. Bluesbees, put your team in the chat if you want it rated. We're not going to be... It's not Rate My Team Live today. So just type it in the chat. Anyway, just a quick backstory to me on YouTube. I've had this channel for about 2 years. It was called JNO Certified, then JNO United. It's now called FPL Today. So basically, did that for about almost 2 years. I've just recently rebanded this channel. I also have another channel called JNO Gaming, or JNO. If you type JNO, it's the other channel that isn't FPL Today that should come up in the first results on the search page. Feel free to go and subscribe to that channel as well, but I'm not as regular on that channel, and it's mainly Football Manager, so you may not be interested. But basically, one of my friends in the community, in the gaming community, got attacked for having a Patreon page. Now, Patreon is a way for people to help their favourite content creators keep making content. A lot of us YouTubers have them. Loki Doki has one, Lula Joe has one, FPL Tips did have one, Kurt Yoy has one. It's just a way that fans of channels can go and give a monthly donation to their favourite content creators to help them keep going, keep growing. Daraj is one of mine. My wife is one of mine. Thank you very much to Mrs. JNO. Have two others, Brownie Matt Boy and Brandon Scott. They've all supported the channel with about £5 a month. I think Matty Brownie Boy is slightly lower, but all support is of course appreciated, from £1 up to however much anyone wants to give. But he got attacked for creating a Patreon, and the reason he created a Patreon was so he could get a better computer, so he could do better gaming content. And someone on Twitter went after him called Cleon, and I didn't really like how Cleon went after him. Now, Cleon said afterwards that he wasn't actually going after him, but I debated that, and I made a video, and it was one of my more creative videos, and it was on the other channel, and it got quite a few likes. I basically said my piece and did a little funny skit at the beginning, but because I've done that, I guess the people that didn't agree with me, and there were a few people in that gaming community side of things, they often dislike other people's gaming content. Why, I don't know. They kind of seem to feel like they're victims of us. So I'm basically getting some hate for speaking my mind once. Before that, I never got that much hate. Now it seems to happen quite often. So yeah, that is probably the reason that hate came in, especially that first time when I wasn't ready for it, and it just completely dominated the chat that night. Anyway, that is the backstory, so enough about that. This is a celebration of 2,700 subscribers, so let's not get too much into why some people don't like me. I agree with Nick Scooty about Gabbiadini. He started off amazing. That is why so many of us brought him into our sides, especially for the double game weeks. And then he did nothing. He even missed a penalty. He got a penalty. I was like, yes, finally, Gabbiadini is going to come through for me. And then he missed that penalty and completely destroyed any confidence I had in him. 4 in 11 is not bad, but if you ignore the 4 games he scored those 4 in, that's 7 games without a goal. But I agree, for those fixtures, if you're wildcarding early, if Gabbiadini is the starter, he might be worth a punt. So many of us players from last season won't go with him because we got hurt by drafting him in, that if he does do well and you brought him in, most people probably aren't. So he could do amazing for you. Jordan R. stamping his authority as a moderator now. Good to see, mate, as long as it's all positive. One day I might even pay moderators if we ever get to that size, so could be quids in. I'd say whoever the favourite option up front for Southampton could be a great shout. Fabregas or Willian. Willian most likely purely because I feel like he's going to be the attacking option with Pedro while Hazard is injured. Fabregas, it depends. If they put Fabregas further forward, he could be a great choice though. Coutinho could run things from deeper though. I know he's probably going to get pushed back, but you know what? That is why I believe the Liverpool choice is going to be just as hard as last year to pick the right midfielder. Jafar Esteems team is in the chat. Foster, Trippier, Cedric, Coutinho, Stanislas, Ali, Salah, Firmino, Jesus, Lacazette. I like that team. I can't see, nothing's jumping out at me as glaringly missing. Lacazette will save you the money, Jordan R, but I don't think we've seen Harry Kane in pre-season yet, so maybe not. We've got time to make these decisions. How viable is 5-3-2 and 5-2-3? Too many defenders for my liking. It's the attacking players that can score the big point hauls most of the time, so I personally don't think it's that viable. Today, sneak peek for you guys. Let's bring it up. Today's episode of How to Play Fantasy Premier League is FPL formations dropping at 4 PM. So yeah, I won't stream past 4 definitely because I don't want people to not know what to watch. So we will definitely stop before 4 o'clock. My daughter might get up. She's having a nap at the moment. So if my daughter gets up earlier than that, I may have to stop the stream then. I personally will always go 3 at the back. The only options I'm going to consider are 3-5-2 and 3-4-3. The reason for that is the cheapest options to save money for elsewhere are in defence and goalkeeper. So I want to be saving money for the heavier hitters further forward. Hot coffee in your hand, Ayush, and you're a moderator now as well. So lovely day. Anyone in the chat actually like it when you're inside and it's raining? I hate it when I'm outside and it's raining, but when I'm inside and it's raining, I quite like it actually, rain hitting the window. It might just be me in my weird ways. Okay, I will listen to your opinion, Blacksterchuk, or Blaster. I don't know how to say your name, but thinks my team is risky. Sanchez has not had pre-season. That's true. Still, though, Sanchez often seems to not have a full pre-season. He will still get played, though. Lindelof, I can't see him not being nailed on because from what I've heard, Smalling and some other defender options are on their way out, most likely, of Manchester United. So I imagine Lindelof will start, especially with how much they paid for him. Gabriel Jesus, I think he's much preferred by Pep over Aguero, and they're going to need at least one forward player. So I take your opinion on board, and the reason I did it was I wanted to see if I could bring in Sanchez or Kane, and it's easier to downgrade than upgrade. So say you build your whole team, and then suddenly Harry Kane has a great start to the season. which he doesn't usually have, so you weren't expecting it, but he does. It will take a lot of squad surgery to get Harry Kane in, unless you have one of Sanchez or Kane in the squad already. For me to get Kane into this squad after game week 1, it would take 2 transfers. It would be Sanchez to someone cheaper, and then it would be one of the forwards up to Harry Kane. And that's because I have one player that is worth the 12 million. Whereas if you don't have that player at that price and you've spent all your money, it takes more transfers or weakening an area of your side significantly to bring in Harry Kane in 2 transfers. I hope that all made sense. But yes, strategy by a lot of the top players is to deliberately put one of the big, most expensive players on your side, so it gives you that wiggle room to manoeuvre after game week 1, game week 2, so on and so forth. Mkhitaryan or Pogba, same price. I would go Mkhitaryan because I feel like we know he will be further forward, but pre-season will help. If Pogba is actually given license to go forward more, he actually created so many chances last year, but they just weren't put away. So if that improves with Lukaku in front of him, Pogba could be a great shout, but my gut right now says Mkhitaryan. Justin, don't worry, I'm really not bothered about the hate anymore. It surprised me that first night. That first night where the hate came in so thick and fast, and we had the issues with the sound and everything. It caught me off guard, but now I'm really not bothered. They can hate all they like. You are going to receive hate if you try and do anything different in life. If you try and push yourself to achieve something. This is something that I'm working very hard at doing, and there will be people that hate me. It's a common thing on the internet. If you do anything on the internet and get any sort of success, you will get hate from somewhere. So I'm ready for it now. It's not going to faze me anymore. It just, that night I wasn't expecting such an onslaught. The first message I was ready to deal with. I've received hate comments before, but in the comment section of a pre-recorded video, it doesn't come so thick and fast. Okay, so will I make an episode about the best teams? To be honest, probably not, because I feel like you still need to have your own individual stamp on your own game. And at the beginning of a game, it's difficult to know what the best squad is. There's such a thing called a template team, where it gets to a point in the game where everyone knows you have to have, say, 4 or 5 different players. So everyone's team starts to look the same. But that isn't the case at the beginning, because we don't have any real records that we can trust to judge that. Like, for instance, Lacazette scored in their first pre-season game. I'm not sure if he scored in the second. I know Arsenal were 3-0 up. But Nacho Monreal got 2 assists in that game after they scored 3 goals. Does that make him a good option when he's playing competitive games against better teams? Who knows? You can look at pre-season and go, they've done really well, they've had a good pre-season, and then you put them into your team and they don't do anything. Last season, 2 players that stand out as an example. I picked Etienne Capoue because he was being allowed to roam further forward as a more attacking midfielder from deep, but he was getting goals during pre-season, so he went into my side. But so did a Swansea player, Wayne Routledge. Wayne Routledge scored 6 goals in pre-season, one of the top scorers if you just looked at every club's pre-season, and he did nothing. He did absolutely nothing, but he was playing amazingly during pre-season. As soon as the pressure was on, Wayne Routledge didn't perform, so it's hard to judge off of pre-season and just our preconceptions from last season. A lot of people didn't pick many Chelsea players to begin last season, but then by the end of it, everyone had at least a Chelsea defender and 1 Chelsea attacker. So things can change very quickly. So I won't be putting a video out about the best teams to have, because I think that would be outdated so very quickly. Aubameyang to Chelsea. Is that Patrick or Pierre-Emerick? Sorry, there was a guy in one of my videos that put a comment. I called Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Patrick Aubameyang by mistake. So Aubameyang to Chelsea would be very interesting. He's not really the same kind of mould as Costa, so it'd be interesting to see how they lined up. I am not as hesitant as you are about putting Jesus in, Aaron Doyle. I think when Pep can pick Gabriel Jesus, he generally does. Look, as far as dislikes go, the only thing I'm actually worried about is them ruining the chat, because I want the chat to be a nice community where you guys can chat to each other, not just me. I want to be involved in the chat, definitely. Sometimes I'll be too focused on the Twitter page to really notice. I may even consider doing those streams without me really looking at the chat. But I do want you guys to chat amongst yourselves as well. I want this to be a place where we can all discuss everything. The dislikes on my video, I really don't care. The dislikes actually help me, because they tell YouTube that someone feels strongly enough about this video to press a button on YouTube. How many videos do you watch on YouTube and you don't press anything? You don't subscribe to the channel, or you're already subscribed. You don't hit the like button, you don't hit the dislike button, you don't comment. So that is why the dislikes really are a good sign. Any sort of sign to YouTube that is making people do stuff on YouTube is good for my video. So they can spam that dislike button. It's good for me. How many people in the stream? 38. I'm surprised that many people have joined, considering I've done this quite early. Love being inside while it's raining. Well, it's better than being outside while it's raining, isn't it? I was outside playing football in the rain. I do enjoy football in the rain. There was one day as a kid when I was playing football, and my dad had bought me some really nice football boots, and they worked wonders on a rainy, muddy pitch, while everyone else was slipping all over the place. That was a great game for me. I had fun that day. Chaos saying you like your thumbnails. Rate team thumbnail are decent. However, why on earth is Okazaki captain? It's just a screenshot I took off the internet. I suppose I could have used my team as a screenshot, but it's Aguero at 11.5 a bargain. If he starts, 11.5 for Aguero. Aguero has pedigree in the Premier League, and even last season, despite being dropped and despite some injuries, he was one of the top scorers, wasn't he? So if he had a full season, he could be an absolute steal at 11.5. And it's surprising saying someone could be a steal at 11.5 million. Ismail Mayet, Aaron Doyle first. Lindelof is nailed on until Rojo comes back, then they'll probably rotate. Depends. If Lindelof takes his chance with Rojo like out of the squad at the moment with injury, he might just keep his place if he's playing well enough. Hopefully by that point he's raising price enough where you can just transfer over to like Eric Bailly or something. Ismail Mayet's team, rate it. Lloris, Stones, Walker, Lindelof, De Bruyne, Salah, Lacazette, Lukaku, Gabbiadini, Loftus-Cheek. I like that side. I'm not a Gabbiadini fan, but I've already mentioned that could bite me in the arse as well. By the way, guys, you don't need to worry too much about your teams now. I know I do videos which talk about how to pick your team and everything, but we have until August. And I'll be honest, I've not looked at this team since the last time I changed it, which I think was when I put Jordan Ayew in, so. Exactly, Nick. At 9% ownership, he could be a great differential, could Aguero. Which 6.5 option is the best? I'm assuming you're talking about midfield, or are you talking about strikers, Seb? Don't worry, I'm not worried about the hate, bro. I know you guys have my back. Rooney, great shout after Game Week 5. When Everton's fixtures get easier and we have some stats, it could be absolutely great to have an Everton player in. FPL draft with subs. That could be something I do on the live stream. If I did it with subscribers, generally I have... Well, this video is saying I've got 2,700, so... If I did it in the stream, that might be possible. It might be that I have to do 2, because I think you can only have 16 people in a draft. So maybe if there's, say, roughly 40, I could do 3 and split people up. So for those of you that do tune into my streams, may do it pretty early on, just because I'm presuming the streams will get bigger the closer to the season we get. So That's definitely a possibility, Lord. I will try and arrange some sort of schedule so you can all try and get to one of the streams that we'll do that in. We have a message deleted. I wonder what Gary Mule said. Alright, we've got KM, Rate My Team, Foster, Elliott, Defence, Trippier, Lindelof, Cedric, Aki and Rangel, De Bruyne, Salah, Redmond, Loftus, Cheek, Knockarts, Kane, Lukaku, Gale. That looks like a balanced team to me. Definitely like it. Blimmin' heck, Jordan stamping down that authority. I don't even know what timing people out is. So let me know what that is in the chat, Ayush. When pre-season is close to being finished, I very likely would get traded out. But he's such a cheap option if he's playing up front. I like Ayew and Tammy Abraham as differentials 1, and they're very cheap, which allows me to have the likes of Coutinho and Sanchez in my field and Dele Alli. I would take 15 million for Walker if I was a manager. I don't think he's irreplaceable. I do think he's good. I think left back is probably harder to replace than right back. I'm hoping Ayew will play and Abraham will play, and Ayew's just slightly cheaper. If Crystal Palace have a good game and Loftus-Cheek seems to be playing quite advanced, I may play a 3-5-2 instead of the 3-4-3. Okay, timing people out. Don't overuse it, but yeah, if they say something that seems to be nasty or not very nice, but isn't a direct attack on anyone, and it's not just me, the attacks. If there's an attack, a clear attack on someone in the chat, then just blocking them straight away is fine. Timing people out, if they say something that seems a bit out of order, I've got no issue with. And yeah, if someone spams, then you can time them out as well. And then just warn them not to spam. I do have Lukaku. I agree with you 100%, Aaron Doyle. One of the things I do is I look at ownership. And if there is a player that is good quality and is owned by a lot of players, it's too much of a risk not to have him. Because if he does go on a blinder, one, you might get priced out because his price rises too quickly. And two, you're not getting the points that everyone else is. Ali or Ericsson, I'd go with Dele Alli, but Ericsson is just as good a shout. I think last season it went up and down. One game week 1 was better, the next game week another was. Is it a good idea to enter the season with 2 accounts? You could, but I only have the one proper account purely because I like to look at my history. And if you had 2 accounts, you'd have like one account going, okay, this was my good account for this year, but then you'd have to switch account to show your ranking from another year. Joe, if you... I don't want to make too many moderators at a time, but you'll definitely be considered next time I'm looking for a mod. I don't need too many mods in the chat, basically, but that doesn't mean I won't make you a mod, Joe. Just for today, you won't be a mod, but maybe in the future, when I need a mod in the chat, I can make you a mod. Ozil or Lacazette? I think Lacazette will get more points this season, but that is a risk. Both could do really well, both could do really bad. As far as Gary Mule's concerned, if he insulted my family, you don't even just have to time him out, you can block him. I personally love my family to absolute bits, would do anything to protect them, so I'm perfectly fine if anyone starts saying stuff that's horrible about someone else's family. okay, let's put a slight asterisk on this. If they've been involved in the chat for a while, and they're a name you've seen lots, and they've generally been really nice in the chat, and then maybe they get a bit heated and say something stupid, because they have that history of being involved in the chat and chatting along with us, then maybe time them out, say, look, that wasn't really necessary, let them calm down. I don't want to ban people that have been contributing for a while. We should give those people a chance. But people that come in new and straight away start saying stupid stuff, they can get blocked. Sean Dyche isn't signing a new centre-back. He was replaced Keane with Kevin Long. And I think Kevin Long's quite cheap as well. That would be good. No, that's definitely a good point. Ericsson was more consistent. Dele Alli got the more explosive scores. If you're rotating as well, 4 million, that's 0.5 you can spend elsewhere. So I think Kevin Long could be good in the easier fixtures. I personally don't Dejan Secco, purely because I don't want to be too influenced by numbers, and I do like to play with my gut a bit, and I don't want to just not pick someone because they're very expensive and they have more of a pedigree of doing really well. For instance, Sanchez, he has done really well for more than one season. I don't want to just disvalue him because he's more expensive than, say, Dele Alli, although I have both. Justin Grierson's team for the first 3 game weeks, I'd definitely agree with that as a strategy. Just focus on the first 3 game weeks, try and get as many points as possible. Set yourself up for the season, and then wildcard to make your team better. Goalkeeper Foster, defence Dawson, Bertrand, Cedric. I like that defence. Ericsson, Zaha, Pogba, Phillips. Forwards Lukaku, Firmino and Kane. I do like that team. Look, I agree with FPL tips personally. I had the best season I had last year, and I wildcarded very early. I wildcarded the year before in game week 7, and by that point damage had kind of been done, and I had to work my way back up to the top 1%, whereas I was always in the top 150k last year because I picked a decent team quite early on. I'm wildcarding in game week 3, unless my team is doing really well and it looks like they can continue to game week 7. Redmond or Tadic for the first 3 game weeks. Both have disappointed before, but I generally feel like Tadic is more likely to get assists and Redmond more likely to get goals. And goals, of course, for midfielders carry more weight, so I'd go with Redmond. But we need to see how the new manager lines up Southampton. Will Tom Davis get more game time? I'm not sure because they've bought so many new players, so I doubt it. Aaron Moody, is that Aaron Moy you're talking about? Because if it is, then I think he's a good shout, but I don't know for definite. We have a new subscriber. I'm not going to try and say his name just in case I stumble over my words, but welcome to the channel, my friend. Glad to see you in here. Have you been to the Buckingham Palace? I've been close to Buckingham Palace. I haven't been in it. They've not invited me in there yet. Not got a big enough channel. Thank you very much for tuning in every stream. I think this is the first time you're involved in the chat, mate, though. So feel free to get involved. If Shaw comes back, he is a steal at 5 million. Owen Bowles watching on your break. Thank you very much for jumping in the stream for a bit. That's fine. 20 minutes is still 20 minutes. What I've noticed is YouTube likes the streams because you've got people watching for a while. Whereas with videos, if you're not really interested in the video, you might click off quite quickly. Will Hudders or Brighton players be more successful? I have no idea. My knowledge on Championship is pretty slim, to be fair. Alright, I think I've caught up with most of the talk. So, there was a question earlier, best 9 million midfielder that isn't Coutinho. So what we're going to do, and I'm sorry if you can suddenly hear drilling, but father-in-law is around, the father-in-law, and he's doing some DIY for us, because that is not my forte. I'm more into the computer side of things. But, so we're going to go for midfielders, and we want anyone 9 million or lower. Yeah, what we'll do is together, I may not see as much of the chat, but together we'll go through some price budgets and try and figure out the best players. Lukaku or Lacazette, I'd say Lukaku to begin with. Andrew's team, Foster, Coleman, defence, Lascelles, Lindelof, Cedric, Holgate, Dunk. Midfielders are Pogba, Loftus-Cheek, Ericsson, Zaha, Davies. Forwards are Lukaku, Firmino and Kane. That feels like a decent balanced side. I like it. Dawson and McCauley, I'd go Dawson. I think McCauley might tire off a bit this season, but McCauley did amazing last season. I would be careful with Spurs because they're playing at Wembley, at least at the beginning of the season. They didn't seem to do very well. We'll go for best 6 million midfielder after we look for the best 9 million midfielder. Free hit. I'm planning to use my free hit when there's blanks, just so I don't have to plan my team towards blank game weeks. Excuse me. That's what happens when you drink on stream. Okay, so roughly looking at the midfielders that scored the most points last year, Sigurdsson was the best last season, that now is under 9 million. If he stays at Swansea, Sigurdsson could be a great option, but I read an article recently by Sky Sports. A lot of Sigurdsson's assists weren't from what Opta considers great chances. A lot of them came from corners, where he's got a defence that are very good at attacking corners. He's got Llorente, of course, who's amazing at scoring headers. If Sigurdsson moves from that environment, which he's done before and failed, will he still get that point return? If he stays at Swansea, Sigurdsson is a great shout, even at 8.5 million. However, if he moves, whilst Everton, who seem to be the favourites to get him, have players like Michael Keane, who can get on the end of a ball, I'm not sure if they are as focused on the set pieces as Swansea are. So I would avoid Sigurdsson at the beginning if he moves. If he doesn't move and stays at Swansea, potentially he could be a good shout. But he's not gone on pre-season tour because he needs to sort out his future. The official Swansea Twitter account said that. So I wouldn't go for Sigurdsson now. Obviously, we're not allowed to look at Coutinho. We've been told not to pick Coutinho. Son, all depends if he can be consistently in the first team. 174 points, considering he wasn't a nailed-on player, is a pretty decent return. Problem with Chelsea is, especially now they're in the Champions League, will Pedro always play? At the beginning, I imagine he will, so Pedro is a decent shout at the beginning, but that could be affected when Hazard comes back. I love Wilfred Zaha. 7 million seems a bit much for a Crystal Palace midfielder, though. Sterling, I'm worried about Sterling's game time. Ross Barkley, I'm worried about where his future lies. Is he going to stay at Everton? Is he moving? Lallana, I worry about his game time. Lanzini, if West Ham improve, Lanzini will be a major factor in that. And Snodgrass, if he moves. Both very cheap, but Snodgrass, if he goes to an environment like when he was at Hull, could become an option at 6 million. David Silva, I worry about his... Basically, I worry about any Man City mid game time. Fabregas, depending on how that Chelsea team line up, could be a good shout. It is difficult. A 9 million midfielder better than Coutinho. I don't think you really have one, for me, that is a better shout than Coutinho. Willian can have a great time. Pogba, 8 million. I'm expecting him to have a better season. Andros Townsend, I read a piece on him as well. Apparently, his accuracy was the lowest, or his conversion rate for goals was the lowest it's ever been last year. And but at least 3 seasons before last season, his conversion rate was a lot higher, so that could go up. Townsend could have a better season. I like Stanislas, but again, he's nowhere near the 9 million mark. Sane, I think, is one of Pep's favourites, so I think he might get more game time this season. But yeah, it's difficult. I mean, the one I'd probably go with, especially if Man United get a defensive midfielder in, would be Pogba. Basically, they're not allowed to change the pitch, and pitch size is a thing. So you kind of set your tactic up to benefit how wide or the width of your pitch size. So potentially it is a lot different for them, but I don't know, to be honest. I don't know the exact sizes. Best 6 million midfielder, we did mention some when we just looked at people under 9. I said Snodgrass, if he moves, could be a great shout. Townsend, if his conversion rate starts going up. Phillips is the only West Bromwich midfielder I'd consider. Stanislas, I feel like, is a good shout, which is why he's in my team at the moment. Of course, his team is subject to change. I saw in the chat that someone wanted to know what my team is, so there it is on the screen. That is subject to change, a lot of change. But we shall see as pre-season goes on. Brunt being made a midfielder makes him almost irrelevant to us now. Albrighton, if Leicester up their output under Craig Shakespeare, Albrighton could be a great shout. I think I've been locked in, which is a bit worrying. My wife has locked me in the bedroom. Ah, it's because my daughter's trying to get in. That's why. Alright, I get it now. So yeah, Shaqiri I think might be leaving, so he won't be a good shout. Iwobi if he got more game time, but I doubt it with all the signings Arsenal are looking at. So Snodgrass could be a great shout. Townsend, Stanislas are the ones that look possible to me. The hype around Lindelof is, I think he's cheaper than Valencia, he's cheaper than Bailly, and we're all trying to save money for other positions, and Smalling seems to be moving. What do I think of Trippier? Trippier's a great shout. I don't know why he's not in my team. I don't know if it's just I didn't like the fixtures or something. If you've got the money, Valencia's a better option than Lindelof, definitely. Alright, we've got a visitor. Hello. Someone's got in. So, 1, don't touch the alcohol. 2, why don't you answer one of these questions, yeah? If you have not got Zaha, you're missing out. What do you think about Zaha? Are we looking at that screen? That screen. Would you have Zaha? If Joe Hart goes to West Ham, do you think he's a good shout? Do you want Joe Hart to go West Ham? Yeah, this is what Daddy does when he disappears in the bedroom. Wow. Yeah, see, look, I'm on that screen there.
So yeah, that's what
I'm on that screen there.
There we go.
It's backwards.
Oh, is
Oh,
it?
no,
My
no, it's
bad.
not. No, it's not. We got a little hammer here. Although you're not allowed to join the firm, because that would give Daddy a heart attack. You don't know what to say now, do you? Shall we ask you another question?
Oh no.
Is Daddy Simpson a good deal at 4.5 million? No, you're not bothered anymore, are you?
No, no more. Let's go. Come on then.
You're like, that was interesting for all of five. Bye. She likes being in the bedroom because she likes to jump on the bed, which is why she's upset she's now leaving, because she was going to go jump on the bed. Apologies if I missed anything in the chat. Ayew could have competition with Tammy Abraham, definitely. That is a definite consideration, but they're both similar prices, so it shouldn't be too difficult to turn them or switch them between each other. Austin starting the friendly today over Gabbiadini. Thank you very much for saying my daughter is adorable. Kazi, hi baby. There probably are better 4.5 million defenders. Naunton, I think Swansea and Bournemouth rotate decently. If we have a look at the fixtures. So Swansea have a bad start, but then they have a decent game week 3 and a decent game week 4. And then Bournemouth, you watch me be proved wrong and they don't rotate at all. But there you go, 2 easy first fixtures, and then game week 3 and 4 they don't. So that is my thinking behind it. I've gone with 4.5 million defenders that I can rotate for those fixtures. So that is why Norton is in my side. Van Dijk, there's so many rumours about Van Dijk every pre-season. He could be leaving. It's definitely possible. However, they keep calling him VVD, and I keep thinking Van der Veer, or Van der Vaart. That's the one that used to play for Spurs every time I see it in the news or on Twitter. I mean, okay, people don't like Ayew, so who could I pick to replace Ayew that's a forward in that bracket? Do a bit of live team alterations here. We've got Vokes, Afobe. Afobe looks like he might be moving. Vokes and Barnes, who is going to be the starter. Vokes did have a good tail end to the season. Rodriguez, possibly have a good season.
I'm going to lock you in.
Okay.
Let me know when you want to come out.
I will let you know when I want to come out. Alright, that's one drink down, boys. Carroll, if he ever stays fit, Andy Carroll could have a good season. Shane Long could be the starter. We've spoken with Charlie Austin. I believe he's in the same price range. Otherwise, I don't really see anyone else that you could really consider a cheap striker. If we put it up to 6.5, I think Charlie Austin might turn up in the 6.5 range. You bring in Deeney, who didn't set the world alight last season, but if you look, he's the top scoring cheap forward under 6.5 or under. Austin is there. Only just got a few more goals than Long, so it depends who they pick. But Ayew is just quite a good enabler if he does start. So that is why Ayew is in my side. Capoue got 131 points last season, Andrew, but he got a lot of them at the beginning and then a few at the end. I mean, definitely had a great return. I don't think I can actually look at when the points came. But 7 goals scored, 2 assists, 7 clean sheets. That's a point for each one of those. So, I mean, he definitely is someone you could consider again. He might have a great start. But if we see, he definitely... for his price last season, 4.5, he got a great return, didn't he? Nathan Redmond, decent shout as a cheap midfielder. But a lot of these players we've already talked about. Is Riyad Mahrez a good option? You've got to wait and see if he gets back into the good books of Leicester City and their manager. Because right now, Mahrez isn't exactly shining a nice light on himself. Will you sign up for FPL bots? I don't know what that is. Who should you swap out for Rondon? Well, the consensus in the chat seems to be Ayew isn't an option. How much is Rondon? He's 6.5. I mean, Rondon may do the job, but Rodriguez may do even better and he will save you 0.5 of a million. I have a feeling Rodriguez may not play forward because it does seem like they like Rondon at West Brom. So, but for the beginning of the season, Austin, whoever's the Southampton starting striker, might be a great shout. Getting a phone call. We will ignore that. I'm in stream, but I can no longer see the chat, which is great. Unless that's one of you guys calling me, then I apologise. Right, we've got an hour before my FPL formations video goes live, so I will be stopping before that happens. We've got James Drury in the chat. If that's who I think it is, that might be a guy from FF Surgery, who I got on their podcast. Let me just check. It's been a while since we've chatted on WhatsApp, my friend, if that is you. And if it's not you, I apologise, James, for thinking you're someone else. Wow, it has been a while, hasn't it, mate? See, we don't talk to each other when... But that's if it is you. I hope it's you. If it's not, I apologise for completely confusing you for a guy I've worked with on FPL content before. Hamish, I would agree with Ayush. There's no need to change him out right now. It can wait. Okay, what did... Oh no, he retracted his own message, so that's fine. Do you think Jesus will start over Aguero? I personally think they might both start. Why would you go to the press and say they could both play if you're not thinking about playing them both? See, a lot of people think Aguero and Jesus might start. Sorry, someone yesterday said pronounce Gabriel Jesus' name correctly. I'm trying. I'm trying to improve. It is me. Okay, guys. If you haven't before, definitely have a listen to FF Surgery, Fantasy Football Surgery. They have a website. I'm sure it's easy to find on Google. They also have a podcast that they put out on iTunes. I'm irregular guest. I think I was on there 3 or 4 times last year. Was there for their season special at the end as well. So definitely a podcast to listen to if you want FPL advice. FPL Bots is a battle of the sexes challenge. Will be in a group stage of all guys till game week 19. And if you can get a certain rank, which I'm not sure about, then you will square off in a knockout against a girl. Are there that many girl players? I'm presuming the girl players get into the knockout stages quite easily. Okay, James Drury wants to see my team because he wants to try and steal it. By the way, I believe he's an Arsenal fan, so that is why I bet he has Sanchez. So he has an Arsenal player of some sort. I should sign up if the FPL lot have signed up. It'd probably be good if I signed up. Why they haven't told me about it, I'm a bit annoyed. Yeah, Chaos, I'm trying to learn. Apologies if you can hear my daughter crying. She's upset. She wants to be part of the stream, or she wants to just jump on the bed. Front three of Lukaku, Lacazette and Benteke. That's a decent front three. Benteke can go on a good run. I personally have heard some rumours that clubs are looking at signing him, but I hope he stays at Palace. I think Palace suit him. I imagine Pep will play something still similar to 4-1-4-1, which can convert into like a 4-2-3-1. So yeah, that's what I think he'll play. FF247, I've seen your channel before, mate. How you doing? Well, look, at the end of the day, Arsenal are a top 6 club. Apologies, Arsenal fans. Usually I'd have said top 4. The daughter sounds like an Arsenal fan, always crying. Good shout there, James. Yeah, you want players from the top teams. I mean, right now, the problem I have in my team, if I'm correct, is do I have coverage with every top team in the league. I have a Spurs player. Don't have a Chelsea player, and that's worrying. But I don't know which Chelsea option to go for. I have a Spurs, I have a Man City, I have a Liverpool, I have a Man United, and I have an Arsenal, but I don't have a Chelsea player. Will Francis start? There's no guarantee. I have heard that Aki might play defensive midfield, which means Francis may still start. J&O League, the classic one is. Someone can put that in the chat for you. Feel free to join. Sorry about the comment on the Arsenal team. My bad, guys. I know you guys are a bit touchy about. Actually, in the chat, I'll be interested. Who is hashtag Wenger out in the chat? Because I'll be honest, if they get the players they're looking at this season, not that Arsenal get all the players they look at, but Lacazette is a good signing. I think ideally you probably wanted him 2 years ago, but I do like the signing of Lacazette. Kolasinac, I wouldn't say it's an inspiring transfer, but I think it's a solid one. I think you may be getting rid of some of the, again, I may hurt some people's feelings here, some of the dead wood. I don't think you need Theo Walcott anymore. He's had his chances and not performed for you. So, yeah. But let me know, are you, even if you're not an Arsenal fan, are you Wenger out or Wenger to stay in? I personally just feel like you can't disrespect a club legend like Wenger. He was the manager that brought the invincible season. And just for those history buffs of you, AFC Wimbledon had more games undefeated than Arsenal. I know it was a lower league, but we're also a lower quality side. So, yeah, you don't have the longest undefeated record in professional, well, not professional, but English football. So that's AFC Wimbledon's. Just putting you in your places, yeah? Okay, Jordan R is Wenger in. Andrew Stewart, Wenger in. Lucas, I'm probably going to do that. I mean, to be fair, I really don't focus too much on my team right now. Right now, for me, it's about creating content. I'm going to be writing for FPL updates. I'm going to be doing a series, potentially, with fantasy football pundits. Also, hope to be on some podcasts. Hope to get a video out every day. I'm going to be very busy. So don't look at my team and go, that's his team for when the season kicks off. My team will probably change drastically. Ayish Falua is Wenger in. Wenger in as well from Lord. Wenger out by Aaron Doyle. You feel me, fam? James Drury's got to go. Everyone, hearts in the chat for James Drury, another FPL legend on the scene. Thank you for joining the chat, even if it was briefly. It's much appreciated. And yeah, love to hear from you about the podcast. Up to you. I don't know if you're still in the chat, but we could even discuss me streaming me in the podcast if I can figure out the audio. That's completely up to you guys, though. I know that may drive a lot of traffic to my channel because they can hear it live. So yeah, but we'll talk about it. It's completely up to you guys. Might bring some new subscribers or pod listeners if we do it once, so let me know. Owen, looks like that code is incorrect. It looks correct to me. Will Lacazette be taking up points of Sanchez by scoring more? It's definitely possible, Chowdhury. I feel like as soon as you put... Because Sanchez will go back. The thing is, if Sanchez can score anywhere close to the amount he has been scoring, his assists may go up because of Lacazette. So it may balance out just. If, with a striker up front, Arsenal create more chances, as a team score more goals, there's a chance that Sanchez will still have a similar output. I know I'm one of the few people that has Sanchez in my team. I've seen a lot more people have Lacazette. I may change to that, because if I did, I could probably bring in a Chelsea midfielder, but then I don't have a Man City player. Or if I took Lukaku out, I can't see not having Lukaku. As much as I don't like bringing in a player from a new club, or who's moved to a new club, even if they have some Premier League history, the fixtures just look too good, and Lukaku could start off amazingly. Am I a fan of cricket? I like to play it. I'm not really a fan of watching cricket, unfortunately. Alright, Joe Cooper, rate my team. Foster, Cedric, Dawson, Trippier, Coutinho, Ali, Zaha, Phillips, Rooney, Lukaku, Kane, Elliot, Lascelles, Rangel and Loftus-Cheek. That feels balanced to me, mate. Coutinho and Ali, your main midfielders there. Lukaku and Kane, Cedric, Dawson, Trippier. That looks good to me, my friend. That looks good to me. Lacazette will be a flop like Torres and Chelsea. Or it could be Lacazette's good and then he moves to another Premier League club, because Torres was good at Liverpool. Lacazette seems like the type of player that would fit in at Arsenal to me. So I personally think I would go slightly more towards him not being a flop than being a flop. I don't consider a Yush 9 million cheap for a midfielder, but it's a decent price. And you have a point there, though. There are plenty of midfield options and not as many forward options. I mean, if we actually look at forwards that are 8 million or lower, I could actually maybe even go higher. 9.5, who's the best? Is Firmino. I mean, if Vardy can up his output, Defoe is proven. But if you look at that, for 9 million... who is actually a 9 million striker? Is there a 9 million striker in the game? Let's look at all the way back to the people that haven't scored in the Premier League before. No, is there not a single 9 million player in the game? Wait, I've got a 9.5. I didn't see a 9 million on the front page. And I don't see a 9.5. Unless I'm being blind. That's interesting. No 9 or 9.5 million forward. But like, if you look at that, there's no one there for me really that goes, that's a must-have. Whereas I think last year Costa was 9.5. I think there were good options at 9.5 and 9. This year, I mean, don't get me wrong, those aren't bad point totals. But yeah, forward-wise, there's no one inspiring. You have to go up to 10 million before you see anyone and you think, yes, like Costa. But he's going. So even at 10 million, who is there at 10? Again, I don't think there's a new signing at 10 million that you would consider. So yeah, 10.5 seems to be where, like, the strikers that people are starting considering are. Oh, I suppose they're not showing up because I've got them in my team already. But Jesus is probably 10.5. And then who else is there? So the strikers are very expensive this season. Costa would be a great choice if he wasn't leaving. Need a forward for 7 million. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about forwards. Like, really, Firmino is the only one that you'd think he could turn it around. Vardy could potentially turn it around. Giroud, if he moved to a club where he'd always play, could start getting some goals. But that isn't inspiring of confidence, is it? Those names when you see them. Alright, so what were we going to look for? A forward for 7 million. See, that's the problem. Like, who on that list makes you think yes? Iheanacho, if he goes to a club where he becomes a first-team striker, has a very good goal-scoring record for when he does actually play. So Iheanacho, keep an eye on him. If he moves to Leicester, Leicester seem favourites. West Ham are also in for him. Iheanacho could be a great shout at 7. Rooney, okay, I've actually watched the Everton game from a couple of days ago. Rooney scored an absolute worldie, don't get me wrong. Rooney is capable of that. He has it in his locker. No matter how old he is, he can score great goals. Everton looked so much better as a team, their performance, when Rooney was subbed off. And they played Calvert-Lewin, I believe is his name, up front. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think Calvert-Lewin is going to start. But Sandro Ramirez seems a lot more mobile. And again, I could be completely wrong. It's not like I've seen loads of Sandro Ramirez. He seems more mobile up front and can press, which I think is something Koeman wants his strikers to do. I don't know how Rooney fits into Koeman's system. Rooney will definitely help as far as being a leader at the club. Would he play just behind the strikers? If they can somehow figure it out where they don't need Rooney to press and work a tactic around that, then yes, Rooney would be a good option. I feel like Everton looked so much better when Rooney wasn't playing, even though he did score that great goal. There were moments where he linked up with Lookman, though, and that combination looked promising. And if you get two players that have that kind of understanding, it could benefit Lookman playing in the same side as Wayne Rooney. And Lookman is 5.5 million if he can break into that first team. That's debatable, but that could be awesome. They did spend quite a bit of money on Lookman, if memory serves me correctly as well. Anyway, back to the chat. Will Firmino deliver points? Firmino is one that has hurt me a lot. Gabbiadini is the third striker first, sorry. And predictions for top 4 this season. Go and check out Zane Muller's video. Predictions, I predict on that. I'd rather you went and watched my predictions on his video. Give him some support. So that's Zane Muller. My predictions are there for you to see. Like I've always said, I want to support as many people in the community as possible. I would like FPL to just grow in general, not just me. So go check out that video. Gabbiadini is the third striker. He hurt a lot of our feelings last season, and we don't know if he will start. Charlie Austin is apparently starting today, so I'm not looking at Gabbiadini. Firmino has great underlying stats. I feel like he could have an amazing season very easily, but I feel like Mane and Salah could be better options. Salah, we have to wait and see if he can do it in the Premier League, but Mane definitely seems a great option for Liverpool if you can afford him. Coutinho, just because he's dropping back, I don't think that's going to affect his output that much. Austin, when he was fit and in that Southampton side playing, he got me some important points in the beginning of the season. So if Austin is playing, I will quite happily figure out how to put Austin as my third striker. 6.5 to me is okay for your third striker at the beginning. I don't like 7 million options though. Sandro I wouldn't touch with a barge pole until after game week 5 just because Everton's fixtures look absolutely horrible. Redmond can definitely be an effective midfielder, but he's also been quiet at times. And I'm sorry, I watched the under-21 championships or the under-20 championships. Redmond, the side looked better without Redmond being involved. Hello, Violet Citizen. Welcome to the chat. Alright, we've got Zima Arts with his team on the first 4 or 5 fixtures. Foster, Mustafi, Cedric, Lindelof. I haven't seen Mustafi a lot. Keane, Redmond, Sanchez, Zaha, Lukaku, Aguero, Firmino. Zima Arts, respect, another Sanchez person. Don't get me wrong, 2 seasons ago I said you need Eden Hazard. And then I looked like an idiot because Chelsea did awful that season. But I feel like you can't ignore the fact that some of these players have such a great point scoring record in FPL. There are certain players that just suit the FPL game with their output in games. So that is why Sanchez is there. I wanted to see if I could get Sanchez or Kane in the side. And I don't like how Spurs are starting at Wembley. And I just feel like they may not have the best start to the season. Ayush for Law, how can I ensure someone searches how to play FPL when your series will be the first one to pop up? I appreciate the support so much, my friend. The only way you can really affect it is one, comments, but don't spam the comments, otherwise YouTube will be like, well, why has this guy put 50 comments on a video? If it looks normal, like we're chatting in the chat or chatting on the comments, then that's fine. Comments help, likes of course help, dislikes even help, but the likes is slightly better, I imagine. Watching the whole video will help, but I'm assuming Ayush, you're doing that anyway. Watching the full advert will also help, because they'll be like, YouTube will be like, well look, not only did they watch this whole video, but they then went and watched the advert before the video. They watched the whole advert, and YouTube gets paid by advertisers, people that want their advert on YouTube. If they see a channel which the whole video is watched and the whole of the advert was watched, especially if there's one at the beginning and the end, they'll be like, okay, this guy's making content which is getting the advertisers' stuff onto YouTube. That will help. Sharing it on social media, of course, helps, because it puts more backlinks. There's so many things that affect how a video does. Watching other content after initially coming into YouTube through my channel will also help the video. So say you watch my video and then you watch 50 minutes, and it doesn't even have to be my video, it can be other people's FPL content, it can be other people's gaming content, whoever. But if you came in and watched one of my videos first, I get credit for the fact that you stayed in YouTube. So that also helps. And yeah, so for instance, one of the things I've done for some friends of mine is, if I enjoyed their series, I go into their playlist. I literally wait a week, don't watch any of their videos, and then if I've got an hour spare, I watch 5 of their videos in a row. That helps their channel out. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get back to FPL. I will have a quick look at my channel as well at some point, just before we go, because this is a thank you. So I think it would be nice if I shared some details about how my channel is doing. So we'll definitely consider that as well. And also let me know, because I've stayed on this screen for a while, do you guys actually prefer this than the fancy little layout I made based off of my YouTube videos? Because there's this, which means we also see subscribers that jump up and so on, but I could figure out how to add that to this normal page. Or do you prefer it if it's just me slightly smaller and you can see the content I'm actually looking at? Anyway, should I start with Kane, Aguero, Jesus, or Lacazette? I mean, Kane could destroy people if they don't have him in. We're all just assuming at Wembley they won't do that well. I don't think you need Aguero and Jesus. Jeff Holt. Hey, Jono, you sound like you had a good night's sleep. I slept like an absolute baby. And when I woke up, I had a really bad headache. But I did some hangover cures. I won't go into too much detail about the hangover cures, but yeah, the wife definitely helped me out a bit, made me feel a lot better. And yeah, so I'm feeling a bit fresher now. I did feel really tired about 12 o'clock while I re-edited the video that's coming out at 4, because I've added credits now, so all Patreons will appear in my credits as people that help out the channel. So Daraj, Matty Brownie Boy, my wife, and Brandon Scott will all be in the credits of my video, which I think is a nice little touch because they've supported me for so long. Slimani has been let go. That is good, especially if Iheanacho and Vardy can put up a good pairing, because Iheanacho is so cheap, and when he's starting he usually scores, and he has got me some important points when I've taken punts on him. De Gea, Mohamed Demadash, De Gea, Foster, Macaulay Walker, Cedric Mariappa, Rangel, Coutinho, Ericsson, Pogba, Loftus, Zaha, Firmino, Kane and Ayew. Well, most of the chat don't like Ayew. So maybe look at someone else there. And I think De Gea is probably too expensive for the start of the season. Defoe is very tempting. He is. He has the record, and Bournemouth are an attacking side. Redmond can be really good return-wise. So I'm just going to have a quick check on the sub count. But Redmond could be a great shout, don't get me wrong. We've gone up 5 subscribers since I've started the stream, which is absolutely awesome. Do I reckon Alonso, Sanchez and Kane... They do. Alonso is one of the highest scoring defenders, and he didn't even start at the beginning of the season at Chelsea. Sanchez and Kane, the best midfielder and the best striker. So I would have liked it if they were cheaper, because it'd be easy to fit into the side. But I also agree with Yush. I think Kane could have easily been a lot more expensive. If we look at forwards without price limiting us, 12.5... I think easily he could have been 13 because he's had a couple of seasons now where he has dominated. If we look at his point score, 224 last season, 211, 191. But look at those appearances. If he stays fit or you just transfer him out when he's not playing, he hasn't had full seasons. And like if you look, oh, I'm looking at goals scored. My bad. Minutes played. Where's actual appearances? Ignore everything I've just said. Where's appearances? Minutes played. Okay, he actually played a lot of minutes in 2015-16. I want appearances, though. Alright, maybe the FPL site doesn't show it. But if we look at minutes played then instead, 29 goals for that amount of minutes. If we then look at Lukaku last season, 2,523. Lukaku played 3,266. Also seems to have played more generally, and points wise he isn't massively better. Kane versus Eriksen. Eriksen lets you do so much more with the rest of your team, but Kane could be a must have. Okay, Ayush, a couple of friends search how to play FPL on YouTube. That is another way you can help. If you type in how to play Fantasy Premier League and then you ignore the videos above me and click on my video, that will help tell YouTube that my video obviously appealed more than the videos above. Don't worry too much because the video only came out yesterday. It takes time to get the #1 ranking spot, so it won't happen overnight. I mean, if we look now, I can click on my video, the basics. 370 views is not bad, but for instance, if you watch the ad, I'm not going to do it myself because it's me doing it. But for instance, right now, and this is TubeBuddy if you didn't know what this is on the side, I can see that how to play Fantasy Premier League, I'm ranked 9th. How to play Fantasy Premier League Football for Beginners, I'm ranked 3. How to play Fantasy Football Premier League, I'm ranked 6. How to play Fantasy Premier League Football, 5th. So this isn't bad considering the video came out yesterday. It's always going to be hard for me to beat FPL tips in the search. It's just the way YouTube works. His channel's been around longer. It's got more subscribers. It gets more views. So I'm not always going to be #1. But for instance, if I can get #1 for certain topics, if I go back and find... Is there a way to go most viewed? Okay, my most viewed video, if it shows up, there we go, is this one, Fantasy Premier League 2016-2017 tips, the wildcard. Now, what I did is I gave wildcard strategies in this video, but what it turned out to be is a lot of people search how to play the wildcard, even throughout the season. At the beginning, they're not that bothered, but the video did well at the beginning, but also, if we click on it, a lot of people searched during the season, and they weren't actually looking for wildcard strategies. They actually just wanted to know how do you activate your wildcard. And for the Fantasy Premier League season, 2016-17 season, I was ranked #1. For Fantasy Premier League wildcard tip, I was 2. For Fantasy Premier League wildcard, I was ranked #3. For wildcard, just wildcard, which could be a very generic term if we type it in, that covers a lot of topics. Because I'm assuming there's wildcard in other things. But for instance, there's a song by Trap Nation who get 15 million views on it called Wildcard. There's another song, Wildcard. I'm 3rd for Wildcard. That is a random ass word to be ranking for. And for instance, Nymphria, go subscribe if you haven't gone and subscribed. Subscribe to Nymphria. She is ranked 4 for Wildcard. There's 1.5 million search results for Wildcard. I'm 3. Nymphrea is 4. I need to tell her she like needs to try and do another wildcard video, because if she can rank at 4 for it, but for instance you've got all sorts of random searches here, but right now, because so many people clicked on this consistently, and because so many people watch a lot of this video, it actually has done really well for me, for the size of my channel. 7 ranked tags is very good. I think one of these says subs gained. It gave me 16 subs. Now, a lot of people subscribe without doing it for a video, but that is quite good for my channel, that someone's seen this video and literally clicked the subscribe button. So, again, I don't want to talk too much about my channel. I will be looking at Social Blade in a second, just to like big up the fact that we're at 2,700, but we'll get back to the chat. Sorry for the a bit of a sidetrack there. Iwobi at Arsenal 555 could link well with Arsenal's new signings. If Iwobi starts, Iwobi has a decent conversion record as well, to be fair to him. Ali Eriksson, Kane and Eriksson, to be honest, they will all do well throughout the season. Kane, as long as nothing changes too drastically there, Kane is most likely to get the majority of points, though, personally. Dele Alli can get massive points, but if you think about it, long-term wise, if we look at Spurs, if you just pick one and stick with them, Ali at 225 and then Kane at 224, Ali is 3 million cheaper and scored 1 more point. Eriksson is 3 million cheaper and was only 6 points behind Kane. Kane unfortunately seems to have slight injury issues. These two, if they can just continue their output, are better value for money than Kane. Now, I don't know if we compare... Now, this says 166. This was Dele Alli's first real season, but he didn't play that many minutes, and he got 10 goals scored and 12 assists. And at the time, he was 5.9 million. That was ridiculous. He was a massive reason why I did well last season, 2 seasons ago. But that is better value for money. If he can do a similar output, Dele Alli is worth more to us because of his price than Sanchez or Kane. Because even if we look at Sanchez got 264, easily the top point scorer. But he, last season, if we look at his last season price, 11.7 million, and we compare it to Ali, so that's 264 for 225. He was a good 2.89 million cheaper, and he wasn't that far off points-wise. So it's worth considering their value compared to the amounts of points. Sanchez destroys a lot of people, even though his price is really high. But Ali was, if you consider his price, every bit as important to win a season as Sanchez and Harry Kane. Cabaye or Capoue? If Cabaye stays on penalties, it all depends on if a lot of penalties can be won at Palace. Capoue, decent start and end to the season, so could be a good shout. That's difficult to pick right now, to be honest. How many 4 to 4.5 players should you have in your team? There's 2 strategies here. You could rotate 3 of your defenders or only 2. If you're only rotating 2, you only need 2 4.5 and then just pick a 4 million and put them on the bench. If you're rotating 3, you might have to have 3 4.5 just because you could be playing any of them at any time and you want better options. In goal, I would personally not have a 5 million keeper. Tom Heaton is pushing me close to breaking my rule of having a £5 million goalkeeper. If they get in enough points, Tom Heaton and Fraser Forster, could be great shouts. But I would say you're aiming for around 5 to 6 because you also probably want one in midfield. But that's completely up to you. Look at your whole team in general and consider it from that point of view. My daughter still wants to join the stream, by the way. That was some solid insight until you corrected yourself. Is that Padful? It says Pafu. But if that's Padful in the chat, absolute legend of an FPL creator. Yeah, I do get stuff wrong. I apologise. Violet Citizen with some details in his Rate My Team with prices. Begovic could be a great shout. De Gea is a solid keeper. A bit too expensive my liking. Azpilicueta, that gets you that Chelsea coverage if they keep clean sheets. Van Aanholt, Bellerin, that's two expensive defenders there when you've got 100 million to use. Yedlin 4.5, Dawson, Sane, Mkhitaryan, Pedro, Loftus-Cheek, Carroll, Lukaku, Lacazette. Don't like Carroll, don't like Gale. Oh, that's Tom Carroll, not Andy Carroll. Never mind. Tom Carroll's fine. Dwight Gale, I'm not a fan of. I feel like you could have a heavier hitter in midfield if you didn't spend as much on defence. Will Loftus-Cheek start? I feel like he will, but I don't know for definite. Why aren't you watching Watford versus Wimbledon? That is going on right now. I would have loved to. I had plans today. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, but it did involve YouTube, and the plans got cancelled. So by the time I realised the plans were cancelled, I couldn't go to the game, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, I probably would have done a blog on it, a vlog. I do plan at some point in my life, when I have the chance to become a season ticket holder at AFC Wimbledon and do more vlogging of the football games. Get different sort of subscribers to the channel that are interested in me vlogging the games. Joe Allen, a good fifth midfielder. He was at a points last season, so he could be this season as well. Ali or Ericsson. I'm going with Ali at the moment, but both very, very good. I'm going with Gale over Gabbiadini, keeping the 0.5. Austin would be a good shout there, Violet Citizen, I think, personally. He seems like he may be in favour, but it could all change, of course. Is it a good idea to do wildcard at fourth week? Okay, there's a couple of reasons, boy. Boy. Sorry, I said boy because I looked at Padful and it said, yeah, boy. And boy was in my head. I don't mean to call you boy. That seemed a bit... I apologise. Chowdhury, is it a good idea to wildcard at fourth week? Okay, the reasons behind this, and I believe it's in my wildcard video as well, which will be coming out some point next week. If you wildcard early, that is when the market is the most volatile, because there's the most amount of people playing, there's the most amount of people changing their side, potentially there's the most amount of people playing their wildcard at one time, so players are going in and out of teams very quickly. What you can try and do, and what was a lot more effective before, but not as much now because Fantasy Premier League have kind of made the prices not fluctuate as much, is you could wildcard, deliberately bring in players that were going to raise in price during that wildcard and get your team value as high as possible, as quickly as possible in that early stage. The other reason for it is once you've got a couple of stats, a couple of game weeks to go on the stats for, you can now pretty much be certain that certain players are nailed on at a club. If they're performing well and they've played all 3 games, they're not likely to go anywhere anytime soon. And you want to make sure you have starters in your side, and you want to make sure your team is set up to get as many points as possible. If you wait too long for your wildcard and your team's not doing well, you're slowly going to slip. Whereas if you play the wildcard early, the idea is hopefully you have a team strong enough, early enough on in the game to keep yourself high up in the rankings. It could all go wrong. You could wildcard off of the first 3 game weeks, and those first 3 game weeks are a complete lie, and the players you bring in don't work out. But if you've also raised your team value, you have more wiggle room to bring in players. So that is why the strategy for a lot of big players like FPL Tips, who's the biggest YouTuber on FPL, does, and has beaten me 2 years in a row, he does an early wildcard as well. And yes, sometimes it's like you're copying someone. If their strategy is clearly working, then why wouldn't you copy it? Like, let's be honest, I've looked at what the top players in Fantasy Premier League do, and by doing that research and by looking at underlying stats, how many shots on goal did they have, how many big chances did they have, by looking at those stats, I've made informed decisions on how the game is played and got decent rankings. So that is how I approach the game. I try and learn as much of what the good players are doing and do it as well, but do it in my own way. I took a punt on Zaha last season. For a period, it really worked. I took a punt on Kapue, really worked. I took a punt on King earlier than most people did, really worked for me. So there's still room to make your own choices, but you might as well do it with the background knowledge of how to play the game. And I know I went on for a bit there. I did answer Tox's question. No, FPL Tips at the moment is still the king of FPL on YouTube. I'm not going to deny it. His growth right now is killing my growth, and my growth is very good. I am currently the second fastest growing FPL YouTuber. But FPL Tips is at a point now where YouTube trusts his channel. He clearly is getting views a lot higher than mine. So I'm not going to be beating FPL Tips anytime soon, YouTube-wise. I can try and beat him this year, FPL-wise, though. I did at one point. At one point, I was competitive with him, but I think around game week 27, he started running away with it. And props to him, he's a great player at the game. I can't be mad about that. All right, we got CR471 in the chat. How you doing, my friend? I don't think Loftus-Cheek will start. Why would you loan a player, though, that you're not going to play? I could understand you buying a player and you have a view for them to be backup. I could understand buying a player and you think he's one for the future. I don't see you loaning a player to be backup, because you can just have backup without loaning a player. You'd always try and improve your team, surely, as a manager. I generally don't buy players to be backup either when I play Football Manager, just looking at it from a manager's point of view. I always try and improve my team. Even loans I bring in to improve my team. At very worst, I bring him in because I feel like I need a rotation option. But if I don't have a first team player in a position, I look to buy a first team player or loan a first team player. If I have a first team player that I'm confident is going to play most of the season, I will rely on a youngster as backup. And if I needed rotation, I'd bring in a player that I was confident enough in to play regularly enough in case the other one gets injured. So I think Loftus-Cheek will still play. That's my personal opinion, though. Rate Aaron Doyle's team. We've got Foster, Elliott in goal. We've got Hun Maya. Apologies if I've butchered that name. Simpson, Cedric, Dawson, Lascelles. We've got Kabay, Pogba, Ali, De Bruyne, Loftus-Cheek, Iheanacho, Lukaku, Kane. I'm presuming you're assuming Iheanacho will go Leicester. If he does, Iheanacho's a great shout. I like that forward lineup. Personally, Kabay, I think there might be a better option, but I can't really. I've looked in this stream, and no one stands out in that price bracket for me yet. Your defence seems cheap, but I'm presuming you've done that on purpose because you're wildcard in game week 3. But I do like that side overall. Richie could be a great shout. When Richie was in the Premier League last time, he showed some promise. 6 million midfielder. If he's doing well during pre-season, I might put Richie in my side. He was the one that I would, if I had to put money on it now, I'd go with Matt Ritchie. Kane and Trippier is better than Defoe and Alonso in my mind, Jeff. Okay, that's something else I'd like to ask, because Violet Citizen brings up a point. He lost the FPL Tips on the last week of last season just because I had to captain someone obscure to beat the leader of my friend's league. Didn't work out. What's more important to you, winning your mini league or the highest ranking possible? I'd be interested to know. I know what's most important to me, but I'll tell you guys in a second. Lacazette instead of AN. If that's IU, then, well, I would love to, but I don't have the money for it. Will Jesus play over Aguero, though? I think they might both play, personally. And I don't. It may have been put in the chat, but just asking again so I know for streams. I could try and make a layout that shows most of this page. So do you prefer it when you can see my browser, and what I'm looking at while I'm talking to you guys and see my whole team on the screen right now, for instance? Or do you prefer my little layout where you have all of the stuff like subscribers, where you have my face is slightly bigger, you have my previous rank? Which screen do you actually prefer? Let me know in the comments down below. In the comments, I'm so used to saying comments because I do actual videos, but in the chat let me know, and let me know what's more important to you guys. Is it beating your friends in a mini league, or is it overall ranking? I will end the stream before 4, I promise. I do want to just quickly go over the growth that you guys, to be honest, have helped me with. So while you guys are doing the chat, alternative to Coutinho, there's not many. Liverpool midfielders stand out. Dele Alli is a close price as well. You've got the Chelsea options, Pedro and Willian. So Sane could be an option. We're all, I think most of us believe Sane is a favourite of Pep. So could be Sane. Padful saying Batshuayi. If they don't get another striker in, that is a great shout. I wouldn't put him in now because I'm not going to base the rest of my team off of the fact that Chelsea aren't buying a striker in, because I think they will. But if they don't, could be awesome. Violet Citizen prefers a non-layout screen and has got some friends that are pretty good at the game. Has Austin been scoring, Ayush? I'll be honest, with streaming, I think the way it will work is I will, if I get bigger, I will have 2 different types of stream. I will have a stream where I literally just look at teams and like do, kind of try and do a show, but live. But even when I'm bigger, and I know it's going to just get harder and harder if I keep growing, I will try and do streams like this where I can keep an eye on the chat and just talk to you guys, because I do want to try and keep that. The idea in the future, and I'm not saying you have to, but the idea in the future is if I ever get to the point where I can do this as my job, which would be the absolute dream, I'm never going to deny that. I would love to just be playing Fantasy Premier League, doing shows, doing content on YouTube as my full-time job. That is the dream, and I'm always one to try and achieve my dreams. Not so much when I was younger, but now I'm very focused on trying to get to a point in my life where I can work from home and spend more time with my daughter, but also do something I love, which is making video content. That's the dream. Then if Patreon has taken off for me, or if there's any way I can kind of figure out who are the guys that are really supporting me on YouTube, I may do streams with them where it's a lot more one-on-one. I may do invite streams where it may mean you don't get invited to a stream for, say, 3 or 4 weeks, but when you are invited to a stream, I can talk to you guys one-on-one in the chat. I do want to still keep that, but of course it will, like you said, get a lot harder when I will say when, because I believe I will get bigger. It may just happen slowly, but I will get bigger. I do still want to keep that kind of connection with the subscribers. Will Stone start? I imagine he will. You pay that much for a player. He's meant to be the future of England defending, so I imagine Stones will start. Ayush, is it on Sky Sports you're watching it, or is it on BT? What are you watching it on? Chaos and Ayush have put the mini league in there for you, Tox. Thank you very much, Jordan R, for saying the stream is amazing. While there's nothing else in the chat, I just want to go to my social blade. Right now, thanks to you guys and your consistent support, I need to change that because I'm not sure FPL Today is now a game channel anymore. But total grade for my channel is a C right now, which isn't bad considering I am subscriber rank wise in the top 1 million channels. There's loads of channels. The fact that I'm that high up is great for me. You can probably ignore this because monthly earnings, I do not earn anywhere near 30 quid a month. I will tell you guys, I earn roughly off of YouTube ad revenue only about £7 a month. It can fluctuate from 5 up to 12. July, August, September, sometimes October, I can get to like the £50 mark. That's what happened last year. My estimated yearly earnings are nowhere near 364. I know that for definite, but they're not too bad. But what I really want to show you is, if you look here on the screen, this is the support I have got of you guys from last week on Saturday. Subscriber wise, 2,538. Live right now, 2,705. That is a jump of over 150 subscribers with 2 great days, 41 and 34. We're 19 up today, but just generally getting over 20 at least, in the upper 20s as well. Monday was slightly less. The streams seem to be helping the growth, because my first stream was Wednesday, or was it Tuesday? I feel like it might have been Tuesday was my first stream. And so we had this massive peak period last season this time. We're hoping to make that massive peak appear again. So thank you guys so much for the support. 2,700. I can actually show you, compared to other channels as well, how we're actually doing. Like if I go to my subscriptions, we get Kurt Yoy, for instance. Don't get me wrong, this is no way me going, I'm better than Kurt. Kurt's a great guy, does great content as well. 3,268 subscribers. Gave me my shot as a bigger YouTuber than me at the time. He had over 1,000 when I had like 100, and he worked with me. He didn't have to. But Chanalytics wise, if we look at his growth compared to mine recently, he was beating me. He's in the red. To be honest, my channel was a bit of a mismatch until recently, where I've just gone FPL. But then from July 8th, just look at that. It's because of your guys' support, I'm dominating the searches. People are finding me in the suggested videos. If we look at Zane as well, Zane's a similar size. And this isn't in any way saying I'm better, you should subscribe to me and not them. But your guys' support is allowing me to get found by a lot of people, and I really appreciate that. That is how you grow in subscribers, is when people can find you, and then it's up to me to impress them. But people are finding me, they like the content I'm putting out at the moment, and it's really helping. But just for those that are actually interested as well, if we actually compare myself to FPL Tips growth, at 23,000, he is always, unless I do something magical or get really lucky, it's going to dominate me. Our subscribers was very similar for a long time. Oh, this is yearly, because he's been, that's how long he's been around, that you're looking at like June 15 and then 17, 19. Oh no, this is still, what am I talking about? But yeah, as soon as he starts making content, like look at this, 273 subscribers in a day. I dream of that. I sleep at night and dream of waking up and jumping up 100, let alone 273. But don't get me wrong, he's worked hard for it. He deserves it. He's been round a long time. And his channel has always been FPL focused. But that there proves to me that I can get to that size doing FPL. I saw Ayush with a chat message, for instance, saying, you're a good YouTuber, the problem is FPL's restrictive. Whilst that is true, also it's less competitive. Because right now, if you don't consider FPL Tips, there is no one that's so much bigger than me that I can't compete on the search engine. Fantasy Football Scout is probably the next biggest YouTube channel, and they mainly focus on streaming their podcast. So I could potentially still challenge them for ranking. And in fact, I'm a lot easier to find on YouTube if you type in Fantasy Premier League than Fantasy Football Scout is. That's because I work on the SEO. And if you want to know about YouTube SEO, go check out Loki Doki, who was in the chat before, or in the chat on a different stream. He's done a video on that kind of stuff. SEO wise, I believe I am better than most of the people in my size area, so generally get my video out there. But of course, a lot of that is down to what the subscribers do with your videos as well. Sorry, just catching up with the chat now. I appreciate the way you think only FPL tips is somewhat close to my content. With different channels, I think his is a lot more impersonal, whereas mine's more personal because my face, for one, is on the screen. Some people don't want that. Some people just want the facts and the stats, and they want to help themselves improve in the game. Mine's a different sort of channel, so I think it's not... While we do the same sort of content, I think we're very different. But yeah, the fact that you think I'm even anywhere near the same bracket, because his graphics is great, his stats are great, his presentation is great, and he's got a decent voice for YouTube as well. I've always worried that my voice is a bit strange for YouTube. I've gotten over that now. I don't think it's too bad. I'm a big dreamer, Tox. I want 5,000 by like October. Now, off of last year's growth, it means I got 1,250 last year in this period. To do that now, I started around 2,500 when the season, like, people started searching again. I need more videos like that wildcard video, for one. And it does mean I'd need to get 2,500, which is double the amount of subscribers I got last year in this period. But I'm doing the streaming as well as the actual content. My content is very focused on what will get me found in search as well. Also providing value, though. Definitely providing value at the same time. I want to do a better sub count growth than last year. I always aim to do better. So hopefully that will be true. I may have to change to the chat screen because my iPad is about to run out of juice. Thank you very much, Jeff, for the comment. Will United be keeping clean sheets? I think they will, because they kept a lot of clean sheets last year. Who is our keeper at the moment, Ayush? Because to be fair, we've changed keepers a few times now. I don't know who our keeper is right now. And there goes the iPad. So I've lost the chat there. So we'll go to live dashboard. I know this is a bit of a stranger view for the peeps. So actually, if we go here and we change the overlay. Because I don't know, for me it would be off-putting to see the stuff, what I'm actually reading on the side, because you already can see the chat. So, captaincy candidates, and we should be stopping the stream soon as well, because, what time is it? 15:53. In 7 minutes my video for today goes live, guys, so we will be stopping in a second. But yeah, that just feels better. Okay. FIFA against your subs, mate, you'll get wrecked. I do play FIFA. I just don't like doing it on YouTube because I feel like I'm so focused on FIFA that I don't actually talk enough. You subbed to me from your mum and dad's YouTube. That helps, mate. If you watch from those accounts as well, like, you are a legend. Not hoodwork. Nothing wrong with hoodwork. Small insight on the equipment I use. 1 second. Thank you very much, Padful. Don't get me wrong, his channel is quality. And if I could do anything similar to his layout and graphics, I would. He must be using, I imagine, Adobe... what's it called? I've forgotten the name, but it's a version... It's not Photoshop, it's a different version. It's not Premiere. But it does that sort of graphics. I think Bretsby uses something similar as well. I don't have that program. It costs money, and I don't know how to use it. So, yeah. We're different, and I think there's room for both of us. I do want to be like the other FPL YouTube channel that's massive. That is my long-term goal. Marcus, send me it. Send me it on Twitter. I will have a quick look, because I'm going to end the stream in a second. But yeah, guys, I think we'll end it now because my video is going live soon and I don't want to be competing with myself. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, it's been a great stream. I wasn't actually planning to stream for 2 hours, But thank you guys so much for joining. It now means I can watch TV with my wife and she can't say, oh, you're going off to stream again. And it is After Effects. Well done for bringing that up. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was an impromptu one. So thank you so much. I'm surprised so many people joined when I didn't tell people I was going to do this. I've done it at a time that isn't 8:30, which is when I usually do it. So thank you guys so much. Next week, maybe not as many streams. If I do stream next week, it will be really late. It will be like 10:30, 11:30, and it won't be for long because the wife will want to go to sleep. So it may be I stream tomorrow just so I can have one more stream with you guys, and then it may not be a stream until the next weekend. But thank you so much for all the support. You've got me to 2,700 subscribers. I think that's still the number. I say really long goodbyes as well, don't I? It's 2,708, so thank you guys so much. You are all so awesome, and I'm loving this streaming stuff because it feels so much more involved with the channel and the subscribers. So guys, go and watch some football, go and chill out, go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Check out my video if you want to, of course. I've been J&O, you guys have been awesome, and this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.